Hey everyone, welcome to the Fargo 3D Printing Show. I'm John Schneider.
I'm Eric Faldy.
And today we are going to be talking about 3D hubs and kind of their whole express checkout debacle that happened about, at this point in time, it's been about a month
About
now.
a month, yeah. I think most of the posts that I'm seeing are from about a month ago. I'm not sure exactly when they started the express checkout, but it would have been around then.
Right. So we thought about doing this podcast a little bit earlier than this, but we kind of wanted things to cool down. Stuff was getting pretty heated on the 3D hub side of things, so we just wanted to make sure that we knew what was going to be happening and there was going to be some more clarity around the whole situation.
I guess also to clarify, it is November the 3rd, just so people are trying to think timeline.
Yep, 2017, in case anyone's watching this like 10 years from now.
Hopefully this will go out sooner than later. I'm actually having time to work on videos right now, so it's really great.
Yeah, and part of the reason you have time to work on videos is sort of what we'll touch on when we get a little bit further into the 3D hub stuff. So a little bit of background, what the whole 3D hub gate, I don't know if we can really call it that.
I didn't know if anybody called it that.
No, but there was...
Hashtag...
Yeah, so 3D hubs, for those of you that aren't aware of what it is it's sort of a community platform where any individual can visit the website, upload a 3D design file, and it will get routed to a hub near them for 3D printing. Now, in the past, when 3D hubs first started, they were very much focused on 3D printing in your local community. Being able to find a 3D printer that was really close to where you're located. So what it would do is display a map of 3D printers in your area, someone in their basement or in their garage that had a 3D printer that had some available time and were hoping to make a couple extra dollars would make their 3D printer available for others to use, and they'd get paid a fee for it, and 3D hubs would take a little portion of that fee since they helped facilitate that whole arrangement. Now, as time's gone on, 3D hubs has been starting to focus more and more on the general consumer and on the professional level of 3D printing. So what happened in the past was 3D hubs started adding more professional grade printing options to its platform, and it started to take away your ability to choose your own hub. So instead of seeing a map version of everything and being able to see all the different hubs that are located nearby, it would have you upload your file, and then it would say, okay, here are the different printing options with the different hubs that it recommended to you, and this recommendation would be based on a hub's score. So it's a kind of an algorithm based on their response time, their communication rating, their printing, like their print quality rating, and I think there's one other factor too that would play into that.
I was just looking at...
and their acceptance rate, so how
Sure.
few orders they canceled or how few orders they rejected. And as 3D hubs has been going on, it's becoming more of a streamlined process, really taking more of the user choice out of it. But what they've been seeing is that results in a greater conversion rate or a higher conversion rate.
I think they said they were making about 10% more.
Yeah,
I was reading on their FAQ. I'll try to really quickly skim through this, but I think they pretty much said that they doubled over the last year, which would have been, 2017 mostly. The orders doubled, and then they were trying to just grow faster and just try to keep up with the demand.
Right.
And I think this, like you said, the conversion rate, I think they ended up about 10% more business, which good for most people, not great for everyone, especially the 3D hubs.
Right. Yeah, so if you're an individual now trying to sign up with 3D hubs, make your 3D printer available for other people to use, or if you bought a 3D printer thinking, this is how I'm going to make money. I'm going to make money by having people 3D print stuff through 3D hubs. It's not going to happen. In fact, 3D hubs has so many people signing up to be on their platform, to make their printer available, that they're limiting how many people can sign up. They're actually creating like a waiting period where, before you can sign up. So it's kind of a waiting list. Part waiting list, part like you need to pass tests. Like I don't know what a test is, but to prove that you are going to be a good service provider.
Like some sort of a grace period, like they give you a
I think so.
Month or something.
It's been a while since we signed up. I think we signed up way back in 2014, 2015, but we didn't get very many orders because in our area there weren't a lot of people locally that would be getting, that would need to have stuff printed. Or if they did, they'd just come directly to us. They wouldn't go through 3D hubs, so they weren't discovering us through the 3D hubs platform. But as time's gone on, we started getting some more orders, and then last year 3D Hubs approached us. They were working on an integration with Thingiverse, where people would be able to request models that they found on Thingiverse to be custom 3D printed, and it would happen through 3D Hubs. Thingiverse had opened up its API. 3D Hubs connected to that API, so 3D Hubs needed hubs to send orders to, and we were one of the hubs that they offered that to, and we said yes. And so we started gaining more and more custom 3D printing jobs. A lot of them were these Thingiverse orders, low margin, but a little bit of a higher volume. So I think at one point we had maybe 5 to 10 orders per day on average. So maybe not even that many. I think we were maybe doing 80 to 100 orders per month. And most of those were Thingiverse orders. We still have some that came in through the hub, but what that gave us was gave us quite a lot of print history. And so when 3D Hubs started developing this express checkout, where a visitor to the site would upload their design file and no longer would be given the option to choose which hub that they'd want, they would automatically be routed to a hub. 3D Hubs asked if we wanted to be a part of that pilot program.
Yep, and it said there were 50 hubs chosen.
50 hubs that were chosen.
They were based on, I thought I had this right here, highest ranking hub based on hub score, best value of hub and price, and then, yeah, okay, I'm not getting the answer I wanted, but pretty much like the stuff you said earlier, just kind of best ranked things. Also, materials were
material selection.
Materials on offer, and then some people were talking in comments, which I think they're both on 3D Hub's forums or threads, about if they didn't offer specific things just by default.
Like, for example, one of the most common materials, print settings, and types or colors is black PLA 200 micron layer height. So if you have 50 different printers listed at your hub, but none of them offer that specific setting, just PLA, standard PLA, no special variant of PLA, you just need to offer PLA 200 micron layer height option in black, and that would get you more default orders, or more of these orders coming in through Express Checkout if you were one of the 50 hubs that were selected.
Yeah, I think that most people that were in these 50 wouldn't have been picked if they did not have some of those options available. And then someone was saying that they don't offer, let's see, they didn't offer a specific color in Formlabs. It's Impact Minis. So he does miniatures. He knows these materials really well. I'm going to just read it so I'm not ad-libbing and like misusing his words. The reason my hub is not showing up as being available for SLA printing is because I won't bring in Formlabs White, which is not as good for making miniature masters for gaming companies, which is what my company specializes in. Formlabs Black is not just a different color, it's an entirely different material from the Formlabs White. If this is why my hub vanished from the manual selection, that is really an insanely bad decision by 3D Hubs. White is not nearly as good for miniature prototyping as black. So why would a company experienced with 3D printing use a big paintbrush and state all SLA printing has to be in white when it's more than just a color? He said a little bit more, but he just said, hey, it's not as good of a material. Well, I know this stuff.
And kind of along that same lines, if you didn't have a Formlabs printer, then you wouldn't even be an option for high detail resin. And there's plenty of DLP printers out there. There's some people that roll their own. There's many different brands of SLA or DLP SLA printers, and they all have their strengths and their weaknesses. But if you didn't have a specific printer type, in the case of the Formlabs printer, or you weren't offering that specific material, Formlabs True White or Formlabs Matte White, whatever I forget what it's called exactly, but if you didn't have that as an option, then yeah, you wouldn't even show up on a manual search. So what 3D Hubs is noticing is too much choice has slowed sales, and by eliminating the amount of choice, they're starting to increase sales, or at least increase the conversion rate of those sales. So naturally there's more traffic coming to the site, but now they're converting a higher percentage of that traffic, which is leading them to grow more quickly. Now that's caused them to abandon, or not be forced to abandon, but make it very difficult to continue offering so many different choices to people, because they get overwhelmed. If someone's never done 3D printing before, or they've been familiar with sending something to another 3D printing service bureau, they're trying to make themselves more like that, which is frustrating if you're someone who had repeat customers coming back to you because of a specific material that you offered and on a specific machine. Now it's very difficult for them to find you unless they know your hub's link. It's difficult for that to come up. If they're just trying to search for hubs in their area, I mean, how do you do that?
Yeah, the website is a bit it's a bit cumbersome. Like I've never actually used it in my own life because I just work here. I've used the widget on our website, which it's a lot more simple.
I mean, the widget's okay, but I had quite a few customers that came to us through that express checkout, and they really did not like the customer experience. They thought it was, frankly, it was really difficult, and there were some of them that went back to using Shapeways because they said Shapeways, they upload their part, they're given all the different materials they can print it in and what the pricing is going to be, and it just makes sense. So I don't know, 3D Hubs is, I'm not quite, I think they're going, well, I know for sure they're going with this express checkout, but before we get too much into what 3D Hubs is doing in the future, let's go back and see how this express checkout impacted us.
Yeah, so a lot of people are complaining. I guess complaining is not a good word. They were rightfully just showing their displeasure with the express checkout. A lot of the, I don't know the percentage, a very large percentage of prints ended up going to, I don't know exactly how it was explained to you, but
so
distances were not properly calculated.
Yeah, so this was a US only thing to start out. And so 3D Hubs, as part of this experiment, was sending, I think, 10 to 20%. They mentioned the exact percent, but let's say 10% of all customers that were coming to the site, whether they were new, existing, whatever, going through this new express checkout, where they'd upload their part and automatically get routed to a hub. Now, 3D Hubs is in the Netherlands, and I don't know if this is just this was a geography lesson that they had to learn, but whatever they were using for locating the closest hub to a customer, it was picking the hub closest to the geographic center of North America, which the geographic center of North America is in North Dakota. There's not a lot of hubs in North Dakota, so we, being one of the only hubs in North Dakota and the only one in North Dakota selected to participate in the express checkout, we had the vast majority of these orders come to us. And that was, I can understand how it would be a frustrating experience because you had customers that had been selected for, like one hub in particular is a Chicago-based hub.
I don't know if it's Chicago, actually. It's 3D Printing Chi, C-H-I. I'm assuming it's Chicago.
I'm pretty sure it is Chicago. And
that's the short name they have on the 3D Hubs forum.
And they have an excellent, they have a better hub rating than we do. And they were located in Chicago, and they were trying to send a print job. They went in anonymously and tried to submit a print job, and it still got routed to us in Fargo. So you can understand how that would be very, very frustrating to them when they're a highly rated hub. Why aren't they getting that traffic?
Okay, you were correct. 3D Printing Hub, 3D Printing Chicago.
Yeah, now, to be fair, we've completed more prints than they have. We're a higher print tier. I think they're like a tier 4 or level 4 or whatever it's called, and we're the next one up.
But they have very high ratings. Everything's a 4.8 or higher. Most of them are 4.9.
Yeah, so quite frankly, they deserve to be a hub ahead of us. And we do a good job with our 3D printing, but when we started getting all of these orders coming in, there's only so many people in our shop. And custom 3D printing is not the only thing that we do. We focus more on 3D printer repair, spare parts, upgrades. The custom printing is, for a long time, it was just sort of something that was on the side. And now we were getting 20 orders per day that were coming in. And yes, we could have declined them, and that's probably, in hindsight, what we should have been doing, is just starting to decline those. But with all those orders coming in, we got excited.
Yeah, we tried to stay on top of it, and I'd say we maybe did for a couple days. We never really caught back up. It went on for about a week.
And we lost one employee who had been focusing, that was his main focus, was the custom 3D printing. And with him leaving to focus on something else, we had a shortage of man hours to put into custom 3D printing. And we only have so many printers in the shop, and it's not just getting the print going on the machine. A lot of these parts had support materials that would need to be removed. It takes that much time to slice the files. If it's an order that has multiple different parts, and some of them, they'd have 40 different STL files in an order. Well, now you've got to track all of that stuff. It's not just sending a file to the printer, taking it off, packaging it up, but then there's all the packaging that has to happen. And our shipping guy, it pretty much doubled. Almost not.
It was a lot of extra stuff.
It doubled the shipping volume, the physical volume of what we would be shipping every day. Not necessarily the number of packages, but it just takes that much more time. And the custom 3D printing parts, most of our spare parts that we sell through our store, they can fit into a padded like a
4
bubble
by
mailer.
4, something small.
Yeah, so something pretty small. Well, now all of a sudden we have all these orders that are having to ship out in 6 by 6 or 10 by 10 inch boxes. It just takes that much more time to package up. You can't just throw it in an envelope, peel it, seal it.
Yep.
You've got to tape all the boxes, and then you've got to make sure you've got enough packing material to go on the boxes. So, I mean, some of these orders took a really long time to get out.
I'd say what would usually take a few hours a day, maybe a couple hours a day, it ended up being a full-time.
Yeah, that got to be my full-time. I mean, and I'm trying to focus more on our the filament business that we have going with 3D Fuel. That's what I'm supposed, that's kind of my role right now. But I had more than a 40-hour work week that I was putting into just the custom 3D printing.
Yeah, you were mostly doing the back end, getting everything ordered and organized, because there were a lot of orders. And then I think we'd have pretty much every intern or part-timer that would usually help me got pulled away. So, and so I was stressed out. Everybody was stretched pretty thin.
Because you manage a lot of the spare parts manufacturing, and with you having to, or the people that you're normally directing to be making the spare parts, now you had to jump in and be making the spare parts, because we still have customers coming to the site wanting to buy parts. Their printers are broken, they need to get them fixed. So that was stressing you out. That was stressing the interns out, because they felt pulled in 2 different directions. It was stressing me out, because I was definitely being pulled in 2 directions. And I think it was almost a month where you didn't have time to work on video stuff.
Yeah. I think I put like a video out once each month the last few months.
Yeah. So
it was a little crazy, and the expression I used was like the Dutch boy and the dike.
Oh,
you put the finger in the hole, another hole starts, and then at some point it's going to be a flood.
Yep.
That's what happened.
And at that point we just shut the hub down. Well, not shut it down, but we made all of the printers unavailable, because it just got to a point where we couldn't accept anymore. I couldn't handle it. It was causing a lot of stress in the company, and it's money coming in. I mean, I don't want to downplay that, but is it as effective a use of our time as if we were making spare parts or repairing 3D printers or providing an appropriate level of service to our other customers? Because everything else started to take longer. We'd have orders that would come in that we'd be back ordered on a part. Now shipping would be delayed a day or 2, and that's not the level of service we want to be providing. That's not. So there was a lot of frustration all around, because then there are all of the hubs that aren't part of that 50 that were doing the express checkout, and their orders went down, because even though it was 10% of the traffic that was being pulled and going through this express checkout, that's that 10% of the traffic is probably a lot of stuff that they would have been getting otherwise. And so I think the 50 hubs, I don't think it was just us that probably got inundated, but I think we got hit the most because of that whole Geographic problem. And 3D Hubs did fix that partway through, but as 3D Hubs also didn't treat this as, they didn't communicate this as well to their hubs as they could have. Now, they told the 50 hubs that were participating in the express checkout program all about it and what the goal was and what they're hoping to achieve from it, but that wasn't something they made apparent to all of their hubs. The email that they sent to us should have been an email that got sent to all of their hubs. And if it would have been communicated, you would have had the same, still people being frustrated, but they would have understood it. They wouldn't have been
like freaking out on the forums. They would have been, but with prior knowledge.
Right.
It's like, hey, I don't like what you're doing, instead of just like, what's going on?
Yeah. And I get when you're in startup mode, there's kind of that mantra of move fast, break things. There's such a thing as really breaking things. You don't want to go the route of dig and break things so bad that most of your client base, and when you look at who 3D Hub's clients and customers are, it really is the hubs. If the hubs aren't there, no one can be 3D printing stuff. 3D Hubs doesn't charge the person who wants to have something printed extra money. They're taking money out of what the person who is printing something, they take it out of our paycheck, basically. They take their cut out of what we receive. It's not charging the customer additionally. You could look at it either way, I guess. It's all how you handle it in the accounting. But they've got to be careful to not upset the hubs too much. Now, there's so many people that want to be hubs that maybe they're not too concerned about it. Maybe they're okay if they lose a hub here or a hub there. But there's all of these other services now that are starting to spring up. Before, 3D Hubs was kind of the only game in town. If you had a 3D printer and you wanted to be providing your services online, that was the best way for people to find you. Now I think there's 3 or 4 other ones that are out there that are starting to really gain traction, and they wouldn't have gained as much traction if it wasn't for 3D Hubs. I mean, once it got to the point where 3D printing industry blogs were covering this going on, I mean, that's when it became a big deal. I mean, there's a whole big Reddit thread about it. It just got to be too much negative press, I think.
Yeah, and I know that some of the people from these competing groups, they would post on 3D Hubs forums.
Well, that's when the shit really hit the fan. Is
they started getting deleted and stuff.
Yeah, and I get it in 3D Hubs terms of service. You know, you're not supposed to be soliciting other, promoting other custom 3D printing services on 3D Hubs platform and on their site, and that's what this guy was doing, and he was complaining very loudly and very vocally about it. I don't know that 3D Hubs handled it as well as they could have, but I also don't think 3D Hubs is really going to be seriously harmed by this. I mean, their sales growth is continuing to increase month over month over month. And their conversion rate seems to be going up, and I think they are focusing more on the professional side of things. I mean,
and they are taking some of the, not criticism, but some of the ideas and some of the, like, hey, this does not, we don't like this. Like they're taking advice from the community and trying to make it more usable. Mm-hmm. It may not be the best thing for the hubs, but it will be a better user experience, at least for the person printing.
Right.
Hopefully, not for everybody, because some people trying to do like a cork fill or a conductive. Apparently, those are really hard to find. I'm not sure if they fixed that. I'm looking at old comments.
Like the really niche materials.
Yeah. I mean, like glow in the dark. I mean, we've looked at the stats before. Like black and white are like a very large percentage, and then glow in the dark is like 0.1%.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that. It's such a small thing that.
But if that's what you're looking to print, and if you're trying to print in a specific brand of a specific material, it gets even more difficult.
Yeah.
Like think of how many different types of just regular PLA there are, how many different types of specialized PLAs there are.
There are dozens of legit companies, and then if you're talking about really cheap, no name kind of stuff, then it's going to be hundreds, I'm sure.
Right. Yeah. I mean, 3D Hubs will come out of this just fine, but I mean, definitely got some tarnish on their reputation. But I mean, I still like using it. Yeah, we don't do the custom 3D printing as much anymore. When 3D Hubs asked if we wanted to continue to be in the Express Checkout program, just for our business, the way we want it to be going, we opted out because the custom 3D printing isn't our core focus, and we think that for people that want to have something 3D printed, if there's a hub out there that can serve them better, where custom 3D printing is their core focus, they'll be better served that way. So, I mean, we're still going to be accepting print jobs through 3D Hubs, but just not as part of the Express Checkout program.
Yeah, no, and I think it was a bit of a running experiment. I know it changed. It changed a week or two in as well. Yeah, and it was a little hairy, pretty much. It was, I don't know, just.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. It was exciting though for those the first couple of weeks of that experiment, because I get text notifications on my phone.
Just blowing up.
It was.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty much nonstop. I mean, I couldn't focus on anything here in the office because I was either responding to someone asking a question about their order, being notified of a new order coming in, so I'd have to take a look at it and accept or decline it, or I was getting something printing, I was taking something off the printer, I was getting something packaged up. It was a more than full-time job, just doing that.
It was a burden, and I hope that doesn't happen again.
I don't know.
It was really cool because we go from like a 2 order a day thing to like 20. I was like, wow, that's a cool number. It's great.
Yeah.
I know we made some money off of it, but again, at what cost?
Right.
The money was there, but we also maybe lost money in other areas.
Yeah.
Or just sleep.
Yeah, stress. I mean It was fun while it was going on, sort of. I mean, like a hard work type of fun.
Yeah, like it was an adrenaline rush.
But
it was a burnout too.
I'm just glad it didn't continue like that, because I think a lot of us would have burned out.
I know some of us did.
Yeah.
Not me in particular, but yeah.
I know who you're talking about, and I can't blame them. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess if you guys have any questions about what it's like to get a ridiculous amount of orders, you can ask us. If you have any comments that you'd like to have with us privately, you could email us. Our email is not hard to find.
Yeah, because there is some stuff that we just can't really, or to be honest, we just don't want to discuss too publicly.
Yeah, just emails with the
stuff.
staff, and just probably not mostly important things, but things that might clear things up a little bit. But I think we did a pretty good job. Maybe a little rambly, but.
Yeah, it was kind of weird being referred to on the 3D Hubs talk board as some hub in North Dakota.
So they actually did figure out Fargo at some point, and I think if people look,
no one named the hub. No one said
Fargo 3D
printing hub, which I was a little surprised.
Yeah,
by.
I think
I'm okay. Like, I don't want that.
We didn't need the extra press at the time.
No.
Yeah. So hopefully, speaking of press, that we'll just. We're going to try to have more consistent uploads.
Mm-hmm.
John, again, is not usually going to be here, but this was one that was a little close to your heart.
Yeah,
because you were the one kind of back there dealing with it.
And it's kind of hard to say that we're not going to be part of the Express checkout program anymore, because the custom 3D printing side of things is near and dear to my heart. But I recognize that our core strengths are with other things right now. So
yeah. So I think in the future, I'm going to. This coming week. I don't know when we'll talk about that, but we're going to a medical expo in Minneapolis.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head because it's
it's MD&M.
That
stands for Medical Devices and Manufacturing.
You got it. That
Expo.
was it. And it's the Minneapolis edition. We're going to go to that, Sarah, Jake, and I. So I don't know if we're going to get any interviews or not, but at least I'll get some shots of stuff. And then Marcus is going to be my right-hand man. And I was thinking, it is actually, that's good, right?
Yeah.
We'll maybe just talk about it. I don't think he'll have much to chip in about that, but we have some ideas about what we're going to talk about. And I'm working on a custom project for a client. I'm not going to say what it is yet, but it has something to do with food. And it's been something I've been trying to figure out for the last couple of days. So we'll talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah.
John will come back for specific topics if we have something John wants to talk about. So that's all I have this week.
Yeah, so I think on behalf of myself, John Schneider, and Eric Faldy, thanks for watching. If you like this, definitely like this.
If
you want to subscribe to it, do that too. If you don't, free country, do whatever you want. But we appreciate you watching, and we always look forward to your feedback, and we will catch you next time.
Yeah, one last thing is that we do also have an audio version. Some of the things don't work as well, but this topic was more discussion. We do have an audio version. Go to podbean.com. I think it's also on iTunes. Just look up Fargo 3D Printing.
Yeah.
Easy to find. So see you next time. You were going to be right, and I don't know. What was that?
You just said Air O2.
Card cannot be accessed. Okay. I think we're going to have to restart.
Oh, that's fine. We didn't get too far into it. And I don't know. That wasn't exactly a gold medal winner of an intro either.
Error. Reinsert.